You need to show your work in order to get more work. Then you need a photography portfolio. Today, in the studio. Hello everyone, my name is Alex Silva and this is Alex Silva Photography. Today, let's talk about our photography portfolios and how you can build your own. As I mentioned in the introduction, you need to show your work in order to get more work. If you want to, let's say, shoot portraits, you need to show your current portrait work and things like that, and go on. So I realized this is a common question, how do we build our photography portfolios? And I did some research and came up with a few tips that I can share with you. Tip number 1, you need to ask yourselves a question. What kind of work do you want to shoot? As I mentioned before, if you want to shoot more portraits, well, let's make sure that you have portrait images. If you want to shoot architecture, well, let's make sure that you have architecture images. This may sound counterintuitive, especially if you're just starting in photography. Well, you need to practice. The best way to practice is to ask a photographer if you can be his or her assistant. That way you will get experience and you will also have some opportunities to create your own images. This way, if you want to get more experienced in, let's say, weddings, you will be able to shoot weddings with an experienced wedding photographer. If you want to shoot architecture, well, you will be able to shoot architecture with an experienced architecture photographer. In any case, the kind of work you want is the kind of work you need to show. Tip number 2, select your best work, but only the best. In a previous video, I shared some criteria about how you can select your best images, your good images, let's say. Well, based on that criteria, you can select your best images and let's make sure that they are seriously your best. If anything looks kind of weak, if it's not correctly exposed, if the focus is not tuck sharp, things like that, remove that image from your portfolio. It may be suitable for a customer delivery, but not for your portfolio. So let's make sure that you only include your best images. Tip number 3, trim down. If you have some experience and you have shot for a couple of years, even selecting your best images may leave you with quite a few images. I remember a friend of mine who some time ago sent me a message saying, "Hey, could you review my portfolio?" This message contained a link to an online album in his Flickr account, if I remember correctly. I clicked on it and it turns out this image already had a count of 350 something images. Before I started looking at it, I replied to my friend and told him, "Hey, this is not a portfolio. This is a really big gallery that your customer won't have the time to review." So we worked together to trim it down and we came up with 12 images. My recommendation is to have something between 8 and 12, no more than 15 images that you can show as your very, very best work. Tip number 4, choose a platform. Now that you have your 12 images, let's say, you need to be able to show them. And there are many different ways to do it. Nowadays, most images are shot and delivered digitally, so that may be the case. There are many options here. You can just drop your images into a folder in your tablet, and that's pretty convenient. That's pretty easy to show, and it works. Another option is to create an online gallery. You can use an album in your Flickr or 500px account. That also works. However, my main recommendation is usually to have your own website with your own look and feel so you can control the whole experience of showing your online work. And all of these work great. However, there may be some times when your customer simply does not have access to the internet for whatever reason, or whenever you are meeting with them, you don't have access to the network. So another option for you to consider is to have a printed portfolio. You may just have your images printed and in a big format, and that's it. It works, but it's not super orderly. So my recommendation in this case is to get a small softcover book made. You can use Blurb, some other online services, even your local Costco. And that way, no matter what, you can show your work. And actually, some customers may want you to deliver some printed work, so they will be able to see your work in the final printed form. My last tip for you is to refresh your portfolio regularly. I would say maybe every 6 months, probably every year. It doesn't mean that at the end of the year you're going to choose new images. During the year, you may be able to select your best work. At the end of the year, you may be able to look at your current portfolio, probably remove a couple of images and replace them with some new ones that you just took last year. And in general terms, as you can see, it takes time at first to build your portfolio, but then it's part of your routine, it's part of your workflow. Now that you know how to build your online portfolio, or if you already have one, I'm now curious. If you already have one, let's say an online portfolio, why don't you share it in the comments section? I really hope you found this video informative, entertaining, and if that is the case, please press the like button and of course subscribe to the channel. But more importantly, please remember to keep learning and keep shooting. See you in the next video.